thank you for coming. Breakfast tended this morning by Nelson Speeds. Nishmas Bluma Bela Bas Meir Halevi. Thank you. And B'Shus Rav. First of all, I guess we should say Happy Thanksgiving, Good Yantiv. Today that we celebrate, we say thanks to God. And as a Jew, it's not just one day. We're supposed to give thanks every single day during the year. In fact, Yoseph is a prime example. Even when things are not going your way, you still have to give thanks to God, because Chazal teach us that when Yoseph was being sold to Egypt, he could have been sent in a ship that smelled of foul petrochemical. I guess the Arabs even dealt in petrochemicals in those days, but yet he was then in a ship full of fragrance and spices that smelled nice. God was sending him a signal, despite everything going on. God's still with you, and you still have to give thanks to God. But I want to focus this morning on the fact that Yosef was sold. Who sold Yosef? So if you look at Rashi, you look at most of the commentators say the brothers sold Yosef, and they sold him to Egypt. However, the Rashbam, the Cheskuni, and other commentators say no, the brothers did not sell Yosef. If you look at the Psukim, look at the verse in the Torah, you'll see clearly that the brothers did not sell Yosef. How is that the case? We see that the brothers, Yehuda sees a caravan of Yishmaelim in the background. He says to the brothers, let's sell Yosef to the Ishmaelim. And they threw Yosef in the pit, and they're having a meal away from the pit. And then what does the Torah say? The Torah says, that merchants, the Midianites, they were businessmen, they came, and they pulled him, they drew Yosef from the bar, they sold Yosef to the Ishmaelim. So you see from the Psukim that it wasn't the brothers who drew Yosef from the pit, it was the Midianim, and they pulled him out, and they sold him for the Ishmaelim, not the brothers. In fact, then you can understand everything falls into place in that situation, because Reuben goes to the bar, they threw in a pit that they didn't know there was snakes and scorpions in there, and they call out Yosef. He doesn't respond. They figured he died because of the snakes and the scorpions that are there. So that makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, why did Reuben go in the middle to his father? You have to say it was his day of Shemesh, of serving his father. You have to really go like this to explain what's going on. But this explains it very clearly. Nowhere in the Torah do the brothers say we sold Yosef. Yosef says that, but he doesn't know who actually sold him. The brothers never say that. And with this, so many questions are answered. In fact, the question always bothered me. If Yosef and his brothers, when they met after 22 years, they say they didn't recognize him. Why didn't they recognize Yosef? Would you not recognize your brother because he has a beard and he speaks French? You would know your brother. Why didn't the brother recognize Yosef? But they were convinced he was dead because they went to the pit and they saw him that way. So everything falls in place. And in fact, the Torah says later on, and the whole reason... I don't
get that. If they came to the pit and he wasn't there,
right?
Why would they think he's dead?
Because there were snakes and scorpions in the pit.
Yeah, but what happened was
the body, they didn't go inside the pit to look. I'm just telling you and it makes a lot of sense, because the verses say, in fact, the Torah is very confusing. The Torah says that they want to sell him to the Ishmaelim. And then the Midianites come, and they sell him to the Ishmaelim. And then later on, and what does the Torah say later on? The Torah says later on that the Midianites sold him to Egypt. But the Ishmael sold him. There's all confusion, because God purposely wants to obfuscate the whole situation. Because this whole thing was done because the brothers have a responsibility. Even though they didn't physically sell Yosef, they have a responsibility for the sale of Yosef. And one last thing, I think Rabbi Yoel Ben Nun asked the question, why didn't Yosef write home? Why didn't he tell the merchants that took him out from the pit, I have a rich father, he'll give you whatever you want? Why didn't he do that? So Rabbi Yoel Ben Nun says he thought that Yaakov was in on the plot, that he sent him to Yosef. He sent him to the brothers in the first. But anyway, that's just a whole separating discussion. Have a wonderful day, and